Hello students, this is Brooks Lamp. I am your instructor for Summer Online Writing 111, Writing Portfolio Improvement. This is my welcome video. I'm here in the Rose Garden on campus on this beautiful late May morning, and I just want to tell you give you a quick overview of what we're going to be doing in this course, what you can expect from me, what I expect from you, and just a very quick overview of some of the main elements of the course. Hope you guys are having a good summer so far. You've probably been home for just a few weeks. Maybe you're getting back from juniors abroad and you've had a great trip. But here we are. We're going to dive into this 8-week course. Quickly, who am I? My name is Dr. Brooks Lamp, Professor Lamp, you can call me. I've been here at George Fox for 2 years. I'm going on my 3rd year now. I got my doctorate in English literature from Catholic University in Washington, D.C. And I work in both modern poetry and writing studies or composition studies. I run the writing program here at George Fox, and I have been working on developing the writing studio in connection with LIBA 100 and the Writing 111 course. So I'm at the heart of what we do in this course. I'm in fact going to be experimenting with some new assignments in this course to see how well they might fit this course taught during the fall and summer terms or in the writing studio. And I'm going to ask for feedback from you guys at what works and what doesn't. So I'm excited to be teaching this class. What is this class going to be about? We're tweaking the focus of Writing 111 a little bit. We don't necessarily want you to become experts at all of the things that one might think of as traditional college writing. And traditional college writing says you have to be good at researching, you have to be good at citing things, you have to be able to pull lots of different sources, primary and secondary sources on a specific topic that you've researched using the library into a cogent, researched, synthesized paper. And we're going to take a step back from that and go one step before that and ask what actually happens in a written piece of college-level writing before you even introduce the multiple balls in the air that a research paper might ask you to do. So this course focuses on a few crucial skills that you can use in your own discipline beyond this course in a more specific disciplinary context when you actually need to learn the methods for researching and writing in your discipline. All disciplines need the following things that we're going to be working on in this class. Critical thinking. How do two ideas go together? How do you logically infer an interpretation or a conclusion based on what you're observing? Making observations. When we look at a piece of writing or at the world, a language-based text or a non-language-based text, like a visual image, what do we see and how do we infer things from what we're seeing to come up with interpretations about what it means? How do you summarize, paraphrase, and quote the text that you're using, whether it's written in language or not, so that it's a meaningful representation of what it says that serves your purpose as a writer, but also is faithful to the source itself? And how do you show what you're seeing in concrete ways, using evidence from the text so that you have support for your claims? These are the main learning outcomes of this course. These are the objectives towards which all the assignments aim. And so it's going to be, we're going to live in those spaces and look at those items. Let me just say quickly how the course will work in terms of the rhythm, the pacing, the logistics. You can see below this video in the Foxtail site that all of the course content and schedule and materials and resources are on Foxtail. It's organized into weekly units. Every week I will assign you a certain series of readings, a lesson. At least I'll probably put one video lesson for each week if nothing else, to just quickly introduce the expectations for the week. I put them in the order or the sequence that you're supposed to complete them. And they typically have a combination of lesson, a practice assignment or two, a reading, and then a journal entry for the reading journal, which I'll explain in a second. And I'll run through that cycle once or maybe twice in a week and give you any key submission dates. But if not specified, the submission dates are always the final day of the week, so Friday at 5 p.m. You have to complete the unit, the content for that unit every week. So look, you'll see that pattern in the weekly schedule below. In terms of overall expectations and policies, please read the plagiarism policy in the top of the Foxtail page below this video. That applies to all online teaching. It's good to be aware of how plagiarism works in an online context, just so you are not surprised by anything. As long as you are transparent about where you're getting your ideas, and in fact, this course, because it sets off research as a thing we're intentionally not working on, the principle, the rule of thumb is very simple. Use your own observational and rational skills when you're looking at a text and write about what you're seeing, and don't look at other stuff when you're writing. And if you do that, you'll be fine. And that's the whole thing we're practicing anyway, is just you and the text, your own mind, conversations with your colleagues and I to come up with these ideas. So it's very simple, but it is good to be aware of what the boundaries are. So read that online plagiarism policy for online courses. In terms of pacing and tracking, okay, I have these weekly units. So follow the intended pacing of those units. It's probably okay to work slightly ahead if you have a strange, I know we're all traveling, I'll be traveling during part of this online semester, summer semester. It might be okay to work ahead a day or two, but beyond that, you might want to communicate with me about arrangements to work around things. You know, I will be tweaking content perhaps up to the last day or two before it rolls out for the weekly unit, so I don't want you to get too far ahead and do something that I'm not finished working on yet. I also need you to not get too far ahead because I need to grade what you're doing and give you feedback. So I would say if you want to race right out of the gate on Monday and do all of the work on Monday and Tuesday, I wouldn't try to do it all in one day. Probably sometimes that's going to be too much. But if you want to do it early in the week, fine. If you need to do it later in the week, fine. But in between Monday and Friday, over the course of about 2, maybe 3 days, I would work a couple hours each day on the content for that week, and then not work ahead beyond the week that we're in. That would be a general rule of thumb I would ask of you. The other rule of thumb is communication. Just email me if you have any questions. I check my email every day. I'll be traveling. Some days I won't really be on email, but every couple of days, maybe every 48 hours, I'll be cycling through my email and I'll be answering questions. I even have a couple Q&A checkpoints during the semester. You can see the first one is the end of week 2. We'll have a Q&A discussion forum, and I'm going to ask you to ask me a question about how the course is going so far. So we'll be communicating. It'll go both ways. And as I always say to my students, don't assume anything, ask everything. If you're not sure about something, just ask. Okay, last thing on this welcome video, I want to take this moment to give a quick introduction to the reading journal assignment because it's a little different than most of the other assignments in the course. Most of the assignments are standalone, one-off assignments where I give you a clear set of directions to do a specific set of tasks or to write a specific thing according to a prompt. But the reading journal happens sort of passively in the background of the course every week as we go. And the general concept is I'm going to give you a text to read. Sometimes it'll be a short written text, sometimes it'll be a visual text. Maybe I'll throw a video or a song in there. These are all texts in the broadest sense of the word. And your assignment is to read that text and to just talk about what you're seeing in it, make some observations about it, and ultimately to write an interpretation of it. How do you interpret the meaning of this work in your own words based on what you're seeing. And I have instructions for ways or some suggestions for ways to do that. And that's just going to happen once a week or so throughout the semester. And it's important to keep up with that assignment, which will sort of, everything during the weekly assignments will sort of add up to be pieces of a puzzle for a specific learning objective for that week. But the journal just sort of tags along at the back of that, and you just have to do it every week. But part of the design of that is when we get to the last essay, probably the most important essay of the course, in the last third of the course, you're going to pick one or more of those readings, those texts that you read for the journal, and make a selection of one or so of those texts that you find interesting, that you want to make a more elaborate interpretation about. So in order to build that knowledge base, that reading base to draw on for that final essay, you have to go through and habitually read and think through and comment on those texts as you go. So read those texts and complete the reading journal every week according to the instructions. The instructions for the reading journal is linked in the first week, at the end of the first week, right below this video. And then I can comment and add, I can answer questions about that assignment. Okay, so I think those are the major elements I wanted to discuss here in this very brief welcome video. Thanks for watching. I'm excited to be instructing you this summer. Hope your summer is off to a great start. And in a few days we will be launching this course, and I'll be seeing you there. Oh yeah, last thing. The very first thing you should do is click on the introduce yourself link below this video and introduce yourself. I can give you a couple prompt questions, but just write a few sentences about who you are, and we'll just get to know each other. Not a lot of students enrolled in this class at the time of this video, but that's okay. A small class can be a great class. Okay, I'll be seeing you every week at least on a quick welcome video for the week, and we'll be talking to you directly by email or other means. Okay, welcome to Writing 111, and I'll be talking to you soon.